Want to take a wild guess?
42?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. I always forget something like this.
Okay, so I have a lot of little weird odds and ends things to cover today. So don't even ask me what chapter they're in, because I don't know. I'm just telling you what I know and what I think you ought to know, and if it turns up in your books, good for the book. Okay. So we were talking about the difference between gram-negative bacteria and gram-positive bacteria yesterday, right? Remember, gram-positive bacteria have that outer membrane, and that's where their lipid A and the other lipidy substances are, and lipid A is an endotoxin.
And gram-negative.
Gram-negative. Did I?
You said gram-positive.
Okay. We mean negative. But they have this outer membrane which protects them against digestive acids. Not 100%, but a lot better than if they didn't have it. And also protects them against chemicals, like antibiotics. For one thing, penicillin doesn't get gram-negatives very well. So, let's now translate that into food poisoning. There's actually many different kinds of food poisoning. All you know is like, oh, my belly hurts and I got the monkey's course and whatever. And then you go to the doctor and you're like, oh, doctor, I was puking my guts out. And he's like, well, it can't be bacterial because you were puking too soon after you ate. Well, that's not true. And also, don't forget, a lot of food poisonings are viral. Go to a salad bar, not feeling too good later, could be viral food poisoning because viruses infect our food just like bacteria do. But right now we're going to stick with the bacteria. Gram-negative food infection is caused by numbers of bacteria in your digestive tract. So, I have a million stories to tell you. Let's do an E. coli one. Actually, I have a whole movie on this. Oh, God. Oh, I can put it all together. Let me see. I'll even put it here. I'll tell you what it is. I can remember. I always have to write notes because I can never remember anything. Oh, God, where's my note? Where's my little E. coli note? Oh, dear, I lost it. 15787, maybe it's on this one. Oh, how do you like that? See, I can't keep track of anything. Oh well. Around here somewhere. Okay. If I have the number wrong, somebody correct me. Oh, what's the number? That's not it. What's the number for that E. coli food poisoning? I always have to write it down because I can never remember numbers. If I can remember numbers, I'd maybe be rich. I wrote it down somewhere. I just don't remember where right now. Somebody Google it. It's a particular strain of...
The number of bacteria, you
Yeah,
mean?
here. Yeah. 0157H7. Did I put that? Yes. Okay, good. Okay.
What is it? It's the number of bacteria?
No. Okay, we'll come back to that. Okay?
Oh,
We'll come back to that. Ignore that for the time being.
Okay.
Food infection is caused by you actually swallowed some bacteria. They colonized somewhere in your digestive tract. So So the growing population of bacteria in your digestive tract is what's giving you food poisoning. Now, think about it. Could take a couple days for bacteria to grow, even on our Petri plates. But when your immune system's in there, and even though they resist your digestive acids, not 100%, so it might take them even longer to get going. So you could get food poisoning, this kind, from gram-negative bacteria living in your digestive tract, and it might not really manifest with severe symptoms until a couple of weeks later. But theoretically, it's going to take at least one digestive cycle, because they got to get down in your intestinal tract and they got to start growing and colonizing. So if you ingest a lot of them, maybe you'll get sick faster. If you ingest a few of them, but they're able to colonize you and then grow to an infection, it would take longer. So this tends to have a slower onset of symptoms than the gram-positive kind. We typically call, when you get this, gastroenteritis, because of the numbers of bacteria in your digestive tract. So gastro, that's your gastric, and enteritis, because it's inflamed. Enteritis, gastroenteritis. I've had it myself. Don't like it. Ouchie.
And what's the symptoms?
Your belly hurts so bad you don't want to eat, you barely want to move. You vomited as much as you can possibly vomit. You pooped as much as you can. You're completely empty and you still feel like, ugh. Yeah, swollen intestines. Okay, so let's just talk about E. coli. Doesn't necessarily have to be that one, but also this one too. So let's talk about cattle and Food Incorporated. Anybody ever watch Food Incorporated? Yeah. So if you're aware, the meat making industry, not a pleasant business. And so what do we do with our cattle? We give them antibiotics, and we grow them under very crowded conditions. And that's why they need the antibiotics, because if you're going to grow cows in very stressful, crowded conditions, they're likely to succumb to diseases. And a lot of cattle will pass disease to one another. So that's why they started with giving them antibiotics. But then they discovered that if you give them antibiotics, they grow bigger faster. And that's one of the ways they get chickens with those big breasts. They dose them up with antibiotics, and for some reason that we don't understand, antibiotics help them grow up bigger and plumper. So anyway, we give these antibiotics to our cattle. So what happens when you take an antibiotic? Throws your system out of balance, because you kill off not only the bad bacteria, but you kill off your normal flora. Well, we're giving antibiotics to cows who might not even necessarily be sick, so their normal flora have been exposed to antibiotics a lot. So their normal flora becomes really strong and resistant to antibiotics, right? And then we cut them up and use them for meat, right? So when they cut up cattle, what they do is first they give them an electrode to the head. That's how they kill them. And so here's the first cow in line that got off the truck. And then there's a cow after him, a cow after him. So the cow down there is like, holy crap, look what they're doing to those guys up there, and I'm next, you know. So it's stressful. Cows are stressed when they have to go through the slaughter process. So they fry their brain with an electrode, and then they tend to hang them up on this big old meat hook, which is on a chain, and then they send them down the chain. And I've actually seen those setups even in veterinary colleges and stuff, because if you have a big animal, how the hell are you going to move it? You need some big hooks, and the hooks are on a chain, so they move along the chain. So when the cow goes down the line, they slice him, remove the skin, because now they're going to use that to make leather and fur purses and all that great stuff that we love. I love leather personally. I really do. And there's nothing like it. It lasts forever. And when you got cats, you got to have a leather sofa, because if it's a fabric sofa, they're just going to rip it to shreds. Anyways, so they take the skin off, and then they open up the cow like this, and this, and open, and then they scoop all his guts out. And then they send him on down the line where he's going to be turned into meat. But when you scoop their guts out, you're going to get some of their guts bacteria on your gloves, let's say. And then when you handle the outside of the cow, you're going to get the bacteria on the meat. So if they cut the meat up into steaks, you go buy the steak at the grocery store, you bring it home, you cook it on the grill, the outside gets nice and hot and kills the bacteria. But what if they take that steak and they grind it up into hamburger? Now the bacteria that are on the outside of the steak get mixed to the interior of the hamburger. So if your hamburger is undercooked and the center is still not the right temperature, the bacteria can live. Now remember, these are not ordinary bacteria that are found in poop. These are bacteria that lived in cows that were dosed up with antibiotics on a regular basis. So these bacteria are really tough, resistant to antibiotics, and in fact can even produce toxins. So there was an episode many, many years ago where people that ate at Jack in the Box hamburgers, a fast food hamburger chain, some of them got very sick, and the younger kids died and the older people died. Others that were healthy and strong might have eaten the same hamburger, but their immune system could deal with it, but there were some who couldn't deal with it. And there have been other outbreaks of this particular strain of E. coli. So what they found was that the hamburgers at Jack in the Box were undercooked. They were rare in the center. Nowadays, you might notice when you go to a restaurant, they're very specific about